So the other day I was on the Amazing Atheist blog TV site, and I noticed a response from him that I thought was really interesting. He said that most of the time Christians argue for a God. Not specifically any God, but just a deity, somebody that's outside of nature. And he says the easy way to respond to that, to disregard that, is to say, well, what kind of God? Is it Thor? Is it the flying spaghetti monster? And to be honest, I get that a lot. I get a response from atheists that say, what God do you believe in? I believe in the flying spaghetti monster. And they compare God, the creator of the universe, to the flying spaghetti monster. And I mean, that seems to be, for any Christian, an extremely frustrating thing, given the evidence for God and the evidence for a flying spaghetti monster. But nonetheless, that's what they give. But what's interesting and what's the double standard, and the reason for this video is this. When I talk to atheists, and I'm sure that Amazing Atheist and those who follow him and those who are interested in his videos would agree, a lot of atheists tend to think that aliens are very real possibilities. That aliens, which by definition are something, a life form outside of the world that we know, and clearly outside of our galaxy from what gives evidence, a life form that maybe is higher in technology as ours. You can just kind of fill in any movie you want to put there depicting aliens. But a life form outside of our own, from a different planet or a different galaxy, it exists. And they have this belief, and they don't really feel like there's a double standard there. And I think as a Christian, it's worth pointing out the extreme double standard there. Because, first of all, if an atheist looks at aliens, they have to understand, certainly, that aliens are not something that we see. Now, whether we see them later, or whether they're even real, we just can't see them now. And so they have to entertain the possibility of an aliens without any proof, but just speculation. And they can do that because they understand that aliens exist outside of our world that we know. But the same thing goes from God. We are arguing for a divine being that is outside of what we know, outside of the laws of nature that we all abide by. A divine being who created that very law. Now, this notion is not treated the same way by an atheist. They treat it as an impossibility. They look at it as the same as Thor. They think the possibility of a God that has way more evidence than aliens. We have way more evidence for a God than we do aliens. But the whole notion of God they do not entertain, but they do entertain the notion of aliens. Now, if they were looked at and they approached aliens and the idea of aliens in the same way they approached God, well, they would be seen as judgmental. They would be seen as closed-minded. Do you see the double standard there? So in light of that, and touching on aliens and outer space, I want to leave you with a quote from Spock. And I'm going to probably not say this completely right, but I love this quote. He says in the movie, when all options are impossible, whatever's left, no matter how irrational, must be the truth. God bless. Thanks for watching, guys.